Hello everyone and welcome back to Brink of Speed. Today we're going to talk about how a GM employee may have spilled the beans about the C8 ZR1 Nurburgring time. By the way, wanted to show you guys I got my new vanity plate for my E-Ray. So I am all good to go now with the BOS E-Ray plate. Looks really, really nice on there. What do you guys think? So first thing is first, because of my good friend Austin over at Speed Phenom, which check out his channel if you have not done so yet, he just released an amazing video. He's in Carmel, California at Car Week. He was able to interview a GM employee about the ZR1 right there, and the employee gave some information that he may or may not should have given, but regardless, he gave it. Speed Phenom's got it on his channel, so check out the video linked in the description below as soon as you're done watching this. And secondly, real quick, if you have not entered to win the MS Solutions C8 Z06 PLUS $20,000, right now is a great time. There's only a few days left. It ends on the 25th. The drawing is on the 31st. And what's better than winning a 2024 C8 Z06? Well, the answer is raising hundreds of thousands of dollars for a great cause. For a horrible disease like multiple sclerosis, I've had family and friends in my life that have had this disease. It's awful. So help raise money. And at the same time, the benefit is you can win yourself a brand new 2024 Z06. Now here's how you enter. Make sure you click on my pinned comment or the link that's in the description below. Once you click on that, you will see that you get double entries by clicking one of these right here. It takes you to this screen. Now you see the Brink ×2. Fill out all your information there, click continue, fill out the credit card information, and you guys are all set and ready to win the 2024 Z06. Good luck everyone. I cannot wait to see who wins very, very soon on this one. All right, so now let's discuss the C8 ZR1 at the Nurburgring, because a GM employee, I believe, gave us vital information about this new C8 ZR1 being at the Nurburgring. And I think it leads to us figuring out that this car is probably going to reach in the low 640s at the track. So let's get going. First of all, we're going to talk about all the cars that have reached into the low 640s and how they may or may not compare to the ZR1. So first one up is the 911 GT2 RS. This car has 710 horsepower. It weighs 3,200 pounds, and it has about 992 pounds of downforce at its top speed, or right around the top speed. And it hit around 193 miles per hour on the straightaway at Nurburgring. Now, we know this is a much lighter car than the ZR1. The ZR1 is going to weigh right at about 3,900 pounds, which is crazy. So it's about 700 pounds heavier than that GT2 RS, but it's got 300 more pounds of downforce, and it's got over 300 more horsepower. To be exact, it's got 354 more horsepower than that 911 GT2 RS. The 911 GT2 RS hit 6 minutes and 43 seconds on the Nurburgring. For the GT2 RS to only have 710 horsepower, not even hit 200 miles an hour in that straightaway, and get a lap time of 6 minutes and 43 seconds and some change is quite incredible. But let's move on to the next one. The next up is a Mercedes AMG GTR Black Series that comes in at 720 horsepower. It weighs about 3,600 pounds. It has a little over 800 pounds of downforce, and it hit about 186 miles an hour on the straightaway. So for this car to come in the low 640s, it was a 6 minute and 43 second and some change lap time as well. So it competed directly with that GT2 RS. It had about 10 more horsepower, but it weighed about 300 pounds more than the GT2 RS. So it's pretty interesting the way these cars are putting down the lap times. Now the last one is the Lamborghini SVJ. That SVJ is a beast. It's got about 1,100 pounds of downforce, 770 horsepower, and we don't know what it hit on the straightaway. I'm guessing somewhere around 200 miles an hour or more, and it put down a 6-minute and 44-second lap time. So it's the slower out of the two. For those three cars to get into the low 640s, they have less downforce than the new ZR1 will have. They have way less horsepower, over 300 less horsepower. And that AMG Black Series and the SVJ weigh pretty similar weights. The SVJ is about 3,400 pounds. The Black Series about 3,600 pounds. And they both have 300 plus less horsepower than ZR1. Now the ZR1 has way more downforce as well, 1,200 pounds of downforce at 200 miles an hour, which we're going to get to in a second. I said 200 for a reason, but it has a massive rear wing back here, not this little low profile spoiler. It has intakes on the top, intakes on the side right here. So this is an actual intake now. There's an intake up here. It has the same 345 tires on there, as you can see, 345. It has the same 275 tires up front. It has this exact same front splitter, but it has the dive planes over here on the side, and it has the exact same side skirt. But with the included gigantic hood scoop right here, that adds an amazing amount of downforce, not just because of the wind that goes in through that scoop, or actually in through the scoop down here and up, but it also has that baffle system on the top of it that also pushes very hard down on the front of this car. So just picture this car, but a lot more downforce and over 500 more horsepower than this car. What that gentleman said to Speed Phenom is that the engineers were pleasantly surprised with the ZR1, that their very first run at the Nurburgring, they hit 200 miles per hour. Now, I think he could have said more than that. I think he probably could have said they hit over 200 miles an hour, because with that kind of horsepower, I would assume that it's hitting way higher than just 200. I know this is a game, but I actually did a couple of tests on Forza, the brand new Forza this morning, and found some cars with less horsepower than the ZR1, right around the same downforce, hitting well over 215 miles an hour on that straight. Most of them were around 208, 209, but I think the ZR1 is going to hit super high speeds on that straightaway. So because we know that it hits at least 200 miles an hour on that straightaway, we know that it has similar suspension, not the same stiffness as a Z06, maybe even closer to this suspension, but when you're in track mode, it's nice and stiff. So it has great suspension. It has phenomenal downforce. It has over 400 more pounds of downforce than the Z06. So for it to have all of that, plus gigantic thrust from those turbos. See, one thing about turbos, as opposed to a naturally aspirated V8 or naturally aspirated anything, is that that thrust gets you to higher speeds quicker, okay? You might get to the same speed with the same power on a naturally aspirated engine, but the turbos get you to that higher top speed quicker, which is very, very important on a track like this. So what do all those cars have in common besides the SVJ is twin turbos. The SVJ is naturally aspirated, but it's a V12, and it's crazy, crazy fast revving, high horsepower V12. It used its all-wheel drive and active aero downforce to really put that lap down. Whereas the ZR1 is going to use its huge downforce and super high horsepower to put that lap down. And what that GM employee also said is that the ZR1 doesn't really need the same stiff suspension that the Z06 has, because it has so much power. and so much torque, 828 foot-pounds of torque. So I said all that to say, I truly believe that we are gonna get, if Chevy gives us a Nürburgring lap time, we're gonna get the surprise of our lives. We're gonna see a low 640s, maybe even a high 630s. I'm not kidding. It would not surprise me one little bit, but it would be more reasonable to think that it would be right around those times, 642, 643, maybe 644 at the most out of this ZR1. So exciting times, guys. You know, I'm so happy that Speed Phenom was able to interview this guy, and he might not have even caught the gentleman, the GM gentleman, might not have even caught the fact that he kind of spilled the beans about Nürburgring, because when you have gearheads like myself hear something like that, the wheels start turning. I start thinking of this, that, and the other. I start looking up numbers on the internet, and I start figuring things out. And I really, truly do believe that he just told us that they are competing with the best of the best at Nürburgring. So that's going to do it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Again, check out Speed Phenom's video right now. It's linked in the description below. You're going to love it. There's great sounds. The interview's great. He has awesome questions, and he's a great guy. So check out his channel. Subscribe if you haven't done so. Give me a big thumbs up. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so. I really appreciate it if you do. I'm trying to grow this channel as quickly as possible and give you guys amazing E-Ray content. So I've got a great video coming for you on the E-Ray and my suspension and how it's worked out since I had it lowered. But you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you guys out on the road.